let me just go over here, double check to make sure. There's a couple of things that I want to share with all of you. I just want to make sure that I'm doing this properly. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Marvel, where authenticity lives and thrives to create a space of growth, healing, and joy. I am your host, Andrea Lawful Sanders, and each day we will cover the topics that are informative and engaging while learning from each other. So, good morning to each and every one of you. I need your support. I need you to go onto my Instagram account. And good morning, Marguerite. I need you all to go on my Instagram account and like it. I will not be able to do live videos over there anymore unless I have at least 1,000 subscribers. I mean, 1,000 likes, 1,000 people who are subscribing to that channel. I can do it over here on YouTube. I can do it on Facebook, but I need to have at least 1,000 people. And I know I just started that page, so I'm not expecting anything miraculous out of it right now. Good morning, Carlene. But I need you guys to go over to my Instagram page, A.LawfulTruth_LLC, and just keep liking it for me, please. It's growing, but it's not there yet. And so they're going to stop my live videos over here, and I'm going to have to go back to my personal page, and I don't want to do that, right? Good morning to each and every one of you. Good morning, Beatrice. Good morning. I have Tammy. Good morning, my darlings. Good morning. Today is another day in paradise. The phone lines are going to be open, so you can talk to me. Today is Mother's Listeners Day. And I do this every once in a while. 215-400-0146. I'm putting this in the chat so you can call me. And then we can go from there. Okay, I think I just put that up. Good morning. Whew. Where do you want me to start? So yesterday, after I got off the air, I was feeling exhausted. I've been traveling and working. Good morning, Marguerite. Can you just tell people to like it over here on the Instagram page so that I can continue to broadcast live here? Because at some point, I'm going to have more and more people on either channel. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and let's not do this right now. Let's not do that right now. So yesterday, after I got off the air, I went back to sleep. I was so exhausted because what you have not been seeing on social media is the amount of traveling and moving that I had been doing. I've gotten to the place where I don't share much of that stuff anymore. So you may think I'm just sitting at home doing absolutely nothing. Good morning, Roz. Good morning, Winnie Love 007. You may think I'm home doing absolutely nothing, but what I'm doing is deliberately not sharing, where I am and what I am doing. So I've been exhausted. And so after I got off the air yesterday, I ran one errand, got back home, and I climbed into bed. I literally climbed back into the bed. And so this morning, if I look a little bit more refreshed, it's because I did this, right? So thank you all for joining me on the Instagram page. Please like the page so that we can continue to broadcast live here. I have to have at least 1,000 likes, and I really just started the page. So, wanted to do that. My personal page is humming and doing well, but I need to do this on Instagram too. So thank you so much. Good morning, Tammy. Good morning to each and every one of you. So I'm going to cover a little bit of news. The phone lines are open if you want to talk to me, or you can join me live on IG. You already know how to do that. 215-400-0146. Shamika, they're talking to me on YouTube. They are. I can see them talking to me. Good morning, Shaquilla. I can see them talking to me, Shamika. So just go ahead and check it out. Roslyn, good morning. I see you all are just so awesome. Just so awesome. I see you over on the Instagram page too. So thank you so much. Good morning to those of you on Facebook and on YouTube. All right. Lots going on. I had an afternoon with David Alexander Jenkins, and we sat and talked about some things on Monday. After I got off the air here, I went and did a live broadcast with PHA. And so there's good morning, Monica, and good morning, David. The East Coast 215. The chat is working. Good morning, Roz. Good morning, Tammy. I see all of you. I did a live broadcast for the Philadelphia Housing Authority. And so let me say something to all of you, because sometimes people get on these things and they say things like, well, it's eminent domain and PHA did da 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 da. I cannot, as a media person, I am just reporting and covering situations live. It is not my responsibility to chastise the Philadelphia Housing Authority for what may have happened long before I came along. Now, do I have the conversation? Like I was there on Monday, and I said to one of the employees, what you're sharing, are the people getting what you are sharing? Because there's so many things happening at PHA that nobody understands and knows about until I'm up on the air and I'm saying this, and this, and that. Well, we didn't know that. We did not know that. So my goal is to debunk some of the myths that's happening over there, to make the employees aware that when people call, they have to really respond, right? Because the CEO and president, Kelvin Jeremiah, plays zero games when it comes to the people of PHA. And so if there are things he needs to know, if we got to figure this out, then you got to let us know so we can help you. When I say us, I am literally, when I'm given the information, I share it with you. And too often I'm hearing things like, I did not know that was happening. They help people to get into college. They give college tuitions. They do college scholarships, $5,000, sometimes more. They're doing things for home ownership, where they can help you to get a home. And not only do they help you to get a home, they put down as much as $63,000, if not more, for to defray the down payment, et cetera, et cetera. And they go further to help people defray the cost of their mortgage when they're in those homes. People don't realize that. And so as I'm talking, they're going, this is not happening. It's not happening. And so I am trying to get that across to you. And this is why we're having these conversations over and again. On Monday, they had a CNI program where they would help you to fix your credit, and they help you to go to college, and they help you to find employment, and they help you to get contracts with the Philadelphia Housing Authority. Like, there's all these things happening. And so my goal is to really, with my team, work it through so that you can understand what's happening. Now, was there an issue at PHA? I would say yes, because before Kelvin Jeremiah got there was a whole lot of things going on. I asked him to come on one day and talk about the things that he inherited with PHA. Okay, I do have it. I've got all my, I'll talk to you about it in a minute, Winetta. All the things he inherited and all the things that he had to work through with his staff, with his board members, all of that. Lynette Brown-Sow is the chair of PHA, and she plays zero games. So they're trying to work through and debunk a lot of the things that have been happening before they got there, right? And even as they're there, we're trying to figure out how to navigate through all of that. So work with me, please, okay? What I'm asking you is not to come on and insult people because you don't understand or you are a part of something that they were not a part of. What that leads to is lack of understanding. There's a little teeny tiny fly that just flew by me and I can't stand it. So there we are. Winetta, I have the shirts. I have the mugs. I have the Mornings with Marvel mugs. See, there's A Lawful Truth mug, right? I have the, there it is. There we go. I have the shirts, I have the mugs. Listen, we're doing all the things, and I had to wait for all the merchandise to come in because what I didn't want to do was start selling them to you guys, and then you go and then say I'm out. And it takes a little while for the merchandise to come in because a lot of those mugs come from different places, as you are aware, and sometimes they're sitting on barges for weeks at a time. So I wanted to make sure I had enough to give to all of you. Anyway, where's the like button? I don't know. It's on here somewhere. I don't know. Beatrice Barlow. I don't know. So these shirts are available. They're in white. They're in black. They're Mornings with Mother, mugs. It's just all sorts of things going on over here. So thank you. We're working now with Duafe. August 3rd is when we're going to do a pop-up so you can come. And I'm doing this on purpose because at Duafe, because I want you all to come and get your hair checked by Sarita so she can tell you exactly, what you can do with your hair, et cetera, et cetera. As you are aware, I have been going to Duafe and I really do support small Black-owned businesses on purpose, y'all, because in the middle of the COVID-19, when people were closing down, these small businesses were suffering the most, and I really wanted to create a space for them to thrive. And I've been doing it since before COVID, though. So, you named the small business. I was literally promoting it. Some of them were not Black-owned businesses, but they were small businesses for people who had supported, like the Keswick Coffee Shop, owned by Joe McCarthy and his wife, stuff like that. And so I really wanted, the backbone of this country are small businesses. And so that's where we've been doing all of this. All right, so the phone lines are open. Marguerite says, it seems that you are PHA's whole marketing department. We didn't know any of what they do until you became in partnership with them. And that's what I keep pushing, On Monday, I was sitting at my table, um, and we were setting up the equipment to start the live broadcast. And these white men walked over and they were like, first of all, it was so funny. He said, "You're the lady from last week, Thursday." He said, "You got up on the stage, and instead of talking about this dignitary and that dignitary, we were happily surprised to hear you say, Miss So-and-so just bought our house. Mr. So-and-so got a scholarship. There's this person is in charge of the what's the name of that? I'm looking at the place now, over there in Southwest Philly. It's such and such the such and such association," and they were surprisingly happy for me, because they were like, oftentimes when people get up on the stage as mistress of ceremonies or master of ceremonies, they get up and talk about all the dignitaries in the room. He said, "You literally focused on the people, the residents that were there. You made them feel special. And as a direct result, we began really honing in and listening to you about who was in the room, and that it wasn't just these people who were a part of the housing authority where, we were just coming to hand some money to them." He said, "You made that thing relatable and plain for us, so that now," this one man said to me, he said, "now I'm looking at how much more money I can give the PHA, because I can absolutely see where the money is coming from." And so the Middletons, who are part owner of the Phillies, said pretty much the same thing to me. They were like, "Who are you?" What, and the fact that there were 450 people in the room cackling and carrying on, and I had to stop them. And I stopped them cold turkey, right? There are people who want us to coddle them and coddle their feelings into, well, I'm here and I have a certain amount of money and you're supposed to treat me a certain way. You are people at the end of the day. And as Mr. Middleton said, he was giving money to organizations that everybody knew about, but he wasn't really focusing on Philadelphia, right? This is where he is. This is where he and his wife are. And he said, I had to listen and figure out how to support Philadelphia. He talked to Kelvin Jeremiah, and that this is how he ended up offering $500,000, and anybody that matches it, he will match that, right? Anybody that gives extra funding on top of that $500,000, he will match that. That is our role in this community. That's our role. And I absolutely loved that I was able to and given free rein to talk about the people that were in the room, that it actually mattered for them. The young man that was talking about the scholarship that he got and what his grandmother had done to get him to this place. But for the grace of God, it could be any of us that have to seek housing, and to make sure that we're okay. Is everything perfect? Absolutely not. But we also have to take the sweet with the bitter, right? And so as things are not working in your estimation, then I can have a conversation and say, this is what the people want to hear. This is what the people want to know. And I have clearly sat in meetings and said, listen, you all go ahead and talk about the dignitaries. I'm here for the people. I've always been here for the people. Always. And that will never, ever stop. So if you want me to say, well, such and such and such and such, and this one seated over there, and that, I'm not going to do it. I love the people. That is how I started in all of this. My love for the people in the community. I go into the conversations, they'll call me. When I was at the radio station, the listeners will call me and say, "Marva, can you come over to such and such and such and such and such, such is happening?" I say, yes. They don't think I'm coming. They look around and I pop up. I go, "You told me to come. So let's discuss. Let's have a conversation about what's happening with the people." It's not just about getting on the air and having my voice heard or reporting the news. It goes way deeper than that, y'all. It goes way deeper than that. And so as a direct result, when I say blah, 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 this is going on, let's go over here, let's go here, over here and do this, then that's what we do, right? And the city and this country does not run without the people that live inside of it, that have been doing the work, that have been keeping the government running through their businesses, through the things that they do every single day. And when you say, I need to hear about X, Y, and Z, then I go figure it out and give you X, Y, and Z. There was a survey done, and there have been many, many surveys done. And I've heard about these surveys over and over again at media conferences. The folks are angry that media folks just come into the community to report a death or an accident. They don't get to know the people at all, and then they walk out. Do you think they listen? Right? Something I have been doing since the beginning of time. When people know that you care, they will show up for you. I have an interview with a congressperson next week. that I believe, if my team and I work it out together, will be the season closer for the A Lawful Truth podcast, right? But like we're navigating and working through all of that. People are calling and saying, can you interview X, Y, and Z? Because the interview process is fair. Because this is not a I'm going to get you. Because when I come on the air and I say, such and such is happening over at such and such, can we figure out a solution to it? This is not about you, the time for you to get into your feelings and say, I can't believe she said that. I am speaking on behalf of the people that live in this city and around this country and in this world. It is not personal, y'all. And so I need you all to, when things happen and we're reporting, then we have a conversation about it, right? This morning I saw a thing that Hania Sharp Brown posted last year. Last year this time was a humdinger, right? But I had people around me, as you heard me say yesterday, who just showed up and said, what can we do to support you, right? Hania posted this July 16th, 2 or 3 weeks after the whole thing happened with President Joe Biden. And I just read it and it just brought tears to my eyes. She says, in case you missed it, Word Radio released the following statement today, moving forward, a statement of unity and healing to correct and clarify recent events that unfolded following former host and my mentor, Andrea Lawful Sanders' interview with President Joe Biden. They also removed their previous statement from July 6th, the one that reverberated around the world. It says, we have known, this is from WRD now, this is not from me. We have known Andrea to be a person of integrity and character. We want to express our deep gratitude for Andrea's 5 years of service and her heartfelt contributions to our station. Her advocacy and care for our community has left an indelible mark on WURD. It is important to state unequivocally that Andrea was not fired and not asked to resign. That thing, people, oh, you got fired. They fired you, blah, blah, blah. That was not true. But it took a couple of weeks for them to put it out that was not true. But you know, what I found that was so blazingly open and beautiful for me was the people. The people just said, we saw her when you didn't see her. She did this, and this for us. She was over here. When you can't fake loving on people and treating people well. That was my saving grace last year when the grits hit the fan, right? And then folks, I had a top leader in the University of Pennsylvania who called me and said, I was cracking up. He was like, nope, we're not doing this. You tell us how we can support you. The amount of support and offers of love and sponsorship and kindness, and then all of you following, right? To make sure that we could start this A Lawful Truth LLC. We have our own media company now. The team members that are sitting here that are doing what we need to do so we can have the podcast. Season 3, episode 5 is out with Margaret Livermore. Oh my God, the feedback that I've been getting from that, people have been listening. In our final conversation to honor Sarcoma Awareness Month, I spoke with Margaret, who is a lifelong friend, and she shared her journey through multiple recurrences of cancer. I said multiple. In this heartfelt conversation, my friend emphasizes the emotional and physical challenges she faced, discussing the importance of having a strong support system, maintaining a positive attitude, and the need for empathy in healthcare. Margaret called me yesterday morning. We have been talking all day yesterday. People have been calling me, leaving messages, how transfixed they are about this conversation. Those are the things that mattered. When I started A Lawful Truth, when I started this media company that houses the Mornings with Mother and the A Lawful Truth podcast, it literally was to continue doing what I had always done, right? Right? It said, and Sarita wrote this, and I love it. Andrea Lawful Sanders is known for speaking truth to power with the heat of a Scotch bonnet pepper and the sweetness of a plantain. Through personal storytelling and transparent conversations with guests on A Lawful Truth podcast, I offer you the opportunity to strengthen our sense of connection, advocacy, and community. Right? So it is this what I had always started doing. When I first hit the air with Chris Norris in 2016 as a guest, to when I became a host at WURD, to what I am doing today, I have stayed true to each and every one of you. I have continued to share the message. I have continued to give the storytelling. I have continued to come into your spaces and your communities and ask the questions and share what others will not share. Things that are covered here, many people are not covering it, right? But that is purposeful. Talk to me about what's going on with you. Let me know. I get all the information and then I give it to you, right? So that people can understand what's going on. Sarcoma is a rare cancer. While there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, over 100,000 of people that are diagnosed with breast cancer every year, 2,000 people are diagnosed with sarcoma a year, according to Dr. Gina D'Amato. And out of those 2,000 people, if there's no research, if they're not covering it, if we're not talking about it, people won't know. Enter me. I said, Margaret, we have got to have a conversation about leiomyosarcoma and the other 130 sarcomas that are out here. People are getting cancer behind their knees, getting cancer in their elbows. It's a joint and soft tissue, connective tissue cancer that no one really knows anything about. So much so, even the oncologists have no real idea about what this cancer is. And so people end up dying because they think it's the end of the road for them. Folks have been feeling tired and exhausted and having brain fog and all these other things, and they're being told it's all a part of their imagination. I needed to debunk that. I needed you to be able to say, okay, this is what's going on. Let me go and keep going until somebody, you may not have sarcoma, right? But the problem with sarcoma is if you do have it, by the time they find it, it's often too late. It's incredible. And so many children, more children get sarcoma cancer than adults. And so you want to pay attention, want to see what's going on, right? Ask the questions, make sure that you're getting your answers that you absolutely need. Advocate for yourselves. I have been on here asking doctors the hard questions. In fact, I had to do a whole series at the radio station around healthcare. And the first thing the doctors asked was, are you going to attack us? I was like, yo, no, but you need to answer the questions that the people ask. Why is it that with all the money that's put into healthcare, so many people are dying? You need to answer for me. How are you responding to, how are you treating the people that are coming in front of you that are of color, right? What is going on in healthcare that so many people are dying when they should not die? And as the directors, they were like, all right, we'll let you, but yes, because I'm fair. I'm not going to do a whole I got you, but I'm going to ask the hard questions. I ask the hard questions in the way they're hard, but you don't feel like I am attacking you, right? There's a way to do these kinds of things so that people feel like they're not being maligned or attacked when we ask these questions. So I'm able to do that with them. But as people were being put out of their houses at 40th Street, began asking the questions. Things happening at the school district or at City Hall with the budget. Do you know I probably was one of 2 or 3 people that sat down and looked at that budget and say, what is this, and this? I was asking Anthony Phillips, and he said, we're going to have to figure it out. But when all this stuff was going on with District Council 33, people started asking about a budget that was passed, God knows how. We have to be more engaged in the process. Is it hard? Damn it. Yes, it is. It is. It is absolutely difficult. But what we cannot afford to do is just turn a blind eye to it. We cannot. And the news can be absolutely overwhelming. From November until February, I spent just about every moment that I had on this air to tell you something is here. Something is coming. Something is upon us. This is what we needed to do. XYZ, XYZ. Then I just stopped talking because what I realized was folks were coming for journalists and for people of color, right? So, and I'm in both of those spaces. So I had to be mindful about how, when, why, and where. But I wasn't so mindful that I would not speak up. I spoke up. I gave you everything that I thought you needed to know. And as you can see, this is where we are. It is not a beautiful space to be in, but you can't say we didn't talk about it. Then we continue to cover the things around, love. How do we thrive and survive in our communities? What does that look like for us? Where do we find our tribes, right? How do we navigate? And it's in the middle of all of that. One friend called me and said, I know you're exhausted. I know you're working. I know you have a bunch of meetings. If your meetings are online, come see me. I just rented a house. It has a lake. You can go kayaking. You can get in the canoe. You can get in the pool. Didn't charge me a dime. Not a dime. She said, just come. You've supported us. I love you. Just come. And these are the things that have been going on. I got up and I left and I went on vacation, but I didn't share where I was or who I was hanging out with or what I was doing. I just left. I'm sharing less and less about the things that I am doing. This year, instead of driving across the country, we're doing spurts of things here and there and everywhere. And I still don't feel like I need to share all of that because so much is going on and our lives are endangered in every way. It's a lot. It's a lot. There are flash floods. There were over 4,000 flash flood warnings in this country so far this year. Something that is unprecedented, that is unheard of. And y'all keep talking about these clouds. Yes, clouds have been seeded since 1940s. That's been going on, and many of you didn't know about it until recently. But what I find is that when we hear something new, we latch onto it, and we make that the thing. The problem is, my dears, it's all the stuff we're putting into the ozone layer, the global warming, we're destroying our ozone layer, and flash floods are happening. Did you see it in the New York City subway? Did you see it? Did you see what was happening in North Jersey, where streams were becoming rivers that were rising feet, 10, 15 feet in places where it wouldn't normally happen? You live here and you say, I'm nowhere near a river, or I am nowhere near the sea. But you can get so much water that the drainage system becomes overwhelmed and your houses start to flood. The streets start to flood. What are we doing? How are we figuring this thing out? What do we do in case of an emergency? What are we telling people when your streets start to flood and your homes start to flood? There were so many videos of people's homes, not their basements, y'all. The basements were already filled to the top. And so it was on their second floor, and the water was coming up to the third floor of their homes. What do you do when these things happen? I have friends now that have canoes in the back of their yards. Don't live anywhere near water. But if you have a flash flood and you can't get out and you need to save your family, this is what is happening. And not just Philadelphia, it is the entire country, really. The entire country is under these flash flood warnings and the effects of them. One river in Texas rose 26 feet. I'm almost 6 feet tall. 6 times 2 is 18. 6 times 3 is what? I'm sorry, 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. So that's 3 of me. 18, right? 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is what? 24? 6, 4 is 24. 6, 7. Yes, 24. So imagine 4 of me standing on top of each other. That's how high that river was. Hundreds of people still missing. What do we do? Why are we so stiff-necked about all of this? Why do we believe that things can't happen until they're actually happening? Black Jesus. And so what is your plan? What happens when all these things are going on? So, good morning, Jasenia. Good morning, Dennis. I see you all here. Wildfire at the Grand Canyon destroyed. Oh my God, yes. Wildfires at the Grand Canyon destroyed the Grand Canyon Hotel. Places that we've gone and visited. Shoo-wee. It's a lot. It is, Winnie. Global warming is absolutely real. Lord have mercy. Viola says, how about I? No, not at all. Oh, Taryn, I saw your husband. He said you were mad at him because you couldn't get a ticket to the event. So the next time there's an event happening that I'm going to be and you want to come, call me, okay? Just call Mother. Don't depend on him. He said my wife was hot with me. Such a nice man. Thank you. Tiffany says, I've heard some stories about PHA staff in housing division and it was not good. So I was happy to hear about the Philly Seeds program. There are parts of PHA that probably need work. And so what I said to one of the employees, I said, tell me why. And he said, Andrea, he said, I don't know. He said, so my goal now is to market and make sure that people know some of the things. If people are calling and they're not getting a response, who do they turn to? These are the questions, because, Mother's always asking the questions. And so do we need to do something different in somewhere else? It's not just about my coming on and talking about all the wonderful things, and there are wonderful things happening there, but I also want to help them to narrow down some of the things that are not working properly. Good morning, Alexandra. Good morning. Yes, Marguerite says, is Philly Seeds the nonprofit arm of PHA the best way to donate or support PHA? Yes. Joanne says, Hans Hansen quote. Y'all are sending me messages all over the place. Hans Hansen quote, people who know they're important think about others. People who think they're important think about themselves. People who know that they're important think about others. People who think they're important think about themselves. CG says, greetings, mother. Thank you for listening to the people and helping them with the problems that they have. And I can't help everybody. I will try to help you as best as I can. I remember one person saying to me, one host saying to me, you know, you need to stop talking to them and stop letting them call on the phone all the time because they're just causing an issue and they don't need to get all that airtime. And I'm like, they live in the city. They're calling about the things that matter. We are talking. We're supposed to be talk radio. We're not here to talk to ourselves. We're here to listen to the people, whether we agree or disagree. And everybody deserves a modicum of respect. I said, so you do you, and I'm going to continue to do what I do for the people. And there ended that, right? Alexandra says, you're not looking for a soundbite to be rebroadcasted. Thank you, mother, for your advocacy. Oh, thank you, darling. Marguerite says, what a difference a year makes. I'm telling you, Marguerite, I woke up and I was just so grateful, as anxiety ridden as I can get sometimes because of all the things that are going on in the country. And as much as I want to get on sometimes and say, yo, I'm done, I can't. It's just like the people are calling. What do we need to do about X, Y, and Z? Can we talk about these things? And I don't just give them 2 minutes or 5 minutes. I literally dig in and start to ask the questions. What is it that, so that people can do what needs to be done? Marguerite says, the station has never recovered from your absence. People are still talking about how much they miss you there. That happened last Thursday, Marguerite. 2 ladies. Girl, where have you been? We miss you so much. And I told them how to find me. They were like, thank you, you know. But it's been a lot. But you love the people. Andrea says, oh, a year has made such a difference for you. I wonder if the station can say the same. I know what I learned. What did they learn? Love you deep, mother. I love you too, my darling. You, when I say you, me and you, we us never part. This is Andrea Robin Manley, because in another week or so, you'll see the memories for the event that I thought was going to have, oh, she laughs at me every time I say this, that I thought only 20 women were going to come to. And Andrea took it on, wore her out, the people, the women. Can I change this? Can I sit with this one? Can I? Wore her out, but she took it on, and in 2 weeks we had an amazing event with women from all walks of life coming. CG says, some of the things that you helped with was some of the things that the council people was not solving the problem. Thank you for being a voice for the people. You are so appreciated. Enjoy. Tiffany said, that was crazy. Ooh, those floods, man. David said, the New York City floods was frightening. When I saw the video, I thought it was generated by AI, but it wasn't. Cha. Viola says, because the world was more water than land, I watched the mountains when I travel. So if you ever take the opportunity to travel across the country, to Viola's point, when we go to Utah, when we travel to Utah and went up into the mountains, the amount of sand, all of this was covered with water. All of it was covered with water. In the mountains, it was all covered with water. We literally are living on borrowed time on this earth. If we do not, not when, if we do not do what we can to reverse some of this damage that we've done to the ozone layer, to the land. And you don't even have to go to Utah. You can go right up here in Wissahickon Park, as a part of the park here in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, and right up there in the mountains near the Indian statue, you look down, it's sand. This was all water at one point. All of it was water. And so we keep thinking that we're okay, that if we're nowhere near water, you know, there were streams, there were rivers running through. And that's why we constantly see these streams coming through. If, God forbid, we ever get a flood, a flash flood like the one that happened in New Jersey and New York, in Philadelphia, all those streams are going to become rivers. People's homes are going to be in deep trouble, right? So just pay attention, y'all. Pay attention. And when we say don't throw trash in the sewer system, because then you overload it, when it rains and the trash is all boggled up down there, it all bubbles back up and starts to flood everywhere. So I talked to all of you about rain barrels. Remember that the Philadelphia Water Department was giving away free rain barrels. It captures the water. I have a rain barrel, and then you take your trash can and just leave it open, get an empty trash can and leave it open, and that fills with water with the rain. So you're not creating a deluge in the water system. And I use that to water my plants. right? So saving on the water, use the rainwater to do what needs to be done. But I know some of you think this is hokey pokey, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But trust me, it absolutely makes a difference. Joanne says, so grateful you pushed forward. We didn't need to lose your advocacy. I'm grateful for all of you, actually. CG said, Mova, do you know whether it's true that Bill Gates said we don't have rights to water? I don't know. But I can look that up. East Coast 215 says, the other Andrea, baby, she was amazing. I will never forget how nicely she sent my money back to me. The luncheon was sold out in 30 minutes. Yes, Lord, poor Andrea. She was like, I can't take any more money. We sold out. We can't take any more people. The floods created rivers here a few years ago, she says. Rivers in the streets. Absolutely. Remember when 676? They were swimming in the water in 676. So you saw this, was it like 2-3 years ago? East Coast 215. And they had to stop people from going out. You couldn't drive through it. You'd have to swim through it. A space where nobody thought that it would flood. So please be incredibly mindful about what's going on. CGL, look to see. I do know a Native American man said to me and my husband, I believe this was 2016. We had gone to a wedding in Michigan, and we had stayed at a hotel, and he said, I need you to know this country is going to go to civil war. It's coming. He said, and I also need to know, you all to know that this air that you're breathing freely, because we're destroying the ozone layer, we're going to have to buy air the same way we're buying water now. The same way we're buying water now, when everybody says we are never ever going to have to buy water, we have water coming out of the pipes. Why the hell would we buy water? Water is a scarcity in so many places. Go check out California, right? And how they're putting from Nevada and Arizona to keep their water systems going because it doesn't rain. It never rains in Southern California. They tell me. All right. Viola says, if you leave, we're going to come looking to you. East Coast 215 says there are some states that don't have the right to water because the water systems are private owned and run. Yes, I remember that now. There were people, wealthy people, who were buying up the water systems, and they're privately. So if they decide to turn that thing off and say, I'm not giving you no more of our water, you have to pay XYZ. Whoo. Viola says, we'll come looking for you. If you can find me, Viola. And the next one will be when? Alexandra, I'm telling you, Andrea was so worn out by all of you. I do need to have another one. But what happened was, after I did that luncheon with the women, I began plotting around what I'm doing now. The Mornings with Mother, the A.Lawful Truth podcast, the putting a whole team together. This is a ton of work, y'all. I may sit behind it and look cute and pretty, but there are people literally sitting behind the scenes working their tail feathers off. David Alexander says, no, Bill Gates has never said that people don't have rights to water. Thank you, my darling. Oh, she says, yes, an annual mixer. Okay. Andrea, you hearing them, darling? Because my team, when I say no one's sitting on their laurels, we're working. We're absolutely working. Just even putting the merchandising together and trying to figure it out. The woman that does my website lives in Costa Rica. She rolled out of the United States in 2016. East Coast, thank you. She says, I'll help. She rolled out of the United States in 2016 and moved to Costa Rica. She is running into some issues there, so I'm trying to get her to put the stuff up on the website. I'm working at the pace of how people can manage, right? Because everything that's happening here in the United States is impacting people around the world. And so we'll get that. So that's why I'm doing the pop-up now until she can get the stuff done for the website at Duafe, so you can come. All right. She says the next one will be when. Marguerite says, Andrea Robin Manley, not Marva. Laugh out loud. Ooh, Andrea Robin Manley is the GOAT. She is. Good morning, too. Good morning. She said, Andrea, not Marva Manley, was put through it. You hear? Oh my God, you all gave her tea for the fear. I won. What do you mean I can't? We put out everything. We said this is going to happen in 2 weeks. She had to give people back their money. She's like, we don't have any space for you. Folks were hot. But we know the next time we do this, it's going to be someplace bigger. Tracy Powell was working on the Met. gala. I had to put that off because we were putting this whole media company together, and then Tracy passed away. Jesus. And her funeral was at the Met. Not the Met Gala, the Met, on Broad Street. So you just never know. She was so many of you were so kind. Tiffany says, I leave a Lowe's bucket and watering pot outside to catch rain to water plants. Excellent. Laura says, FYI, make sure you're not located in a flood zone. Homeowners insurance does not pay for flood damage. Call your insurance company to be certain. East Coast said, Andrea was firm yet kind, very memorable. See there, Andrea. Laura, you are absolutely correct. There are people who live in flood zones, and if you do, and you know you do, then make sure you reach out to your homeowner's insurance company, because they will not cover flood damage if you live in a flood zone. The problem is, my darlings, you no longer have to live in a flood zone for all of this shiggity to happen. So just pay attention, whether you live in a flood zone or not. These flash floods, they're dumping, these clouds are dumping 3 and 4 inches of water. That may not sound like much, y'all, but that's a ton of water in under an hour. And so it overwhelms the systems, and people end up flooding out. Alexandra says, most residents in parts of Delaware County don't realize that they have underground water catacombs beneath them. They get full and water has nowhere to go. Example, Upper Darby. Woohoo! Viola says, we pay a water bill but can't drink it. Ain't that something, child? Ain't that something? Tiffany says, there goes that saying, ain't nothing free but air. Viola says, if I roll out, Mr. will be sick of us. I know. Alexandra says, yes, an annual would be lovely. Do you all realize that in order for us to put that thing together in 2 weeks, I had to give that hotel $13,000. Andrea Robin Manley was there. I had to write a check to them and pray that you all would pay for your tickets to get there. So we have to work out a system where I no longer have to write a check to a hotel, that you buy your tickets in advance so we can do what we need to do, because that was a lot. Tiffany says, yes, Andrea, not Marvel. We are ready for a weekend retreat, a weekend of self-care, networking, and rest. Tiffany, I found these amazing cats, and I do mean amazing, and they're available in Virginia, in the mountains of Virginia. Gorgeous, 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. And I said to Denise yesterday, I said, Denise, I would love to rent about 6 or 7 of these cabins because they're really affordable. I mean, beautiful. This is not like going outdoor, like really, really nice. My concern is what if there's a flash flood one? I'm very concerned about having 20, 30, 40, 50 people up there with me, and we have a flash flood one, and I just don't want that on my conscience. So y'all gonna have to convince me, and I'll share it in the Marvel group on Facebook so that you all can see these cabins. Fantastic. Shenandoah, beautifully known for that. Yes. Yeah, I believe it's in Shenandoah. East Coast 215. I was looking at something with my sister, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I mean, beautiful cabins. So let's discuss, because I'm trying. They seem to be okay up there, but when water comes, water and fire are exacting masters. And so if I can figure it out, then we'll do it close to the end of August, okay? Because we do need to have another one. We do. 2024 was a hot diggity dang mess. So while I would have been planning to take you all away, I was, doing other things. So, good morning. So let's see. David, no, Bill Gates has never said that people don't have rights to water. Okay. Marguerite, when you do the pop-up, you will sell out quickly. Folks, be early to do Duafe. Yes, I know. That's why I had to do this. And I only have a certain amount of inventory. So first come, first serve. Do not call and try to tear Marvel apart, because I'm telling you. David says, Gates has invested in water-related technology, sanitation, clean water systems, and sustainable agriculture through the foundation. He has spoken about the global water crisis, and there is a crisis because you're drinking it so freely now, child. Some critics of corporate influence in water access, e.g. Nestle's former CEO Peter Brabeck, have made controversial statements, but not Gates. Okay, Brabeck. CG says, it is said Mr. Gates is buying up the land with aquifers and has teamed up with Nestle Water Company. Please let us know. All right, I'm going to look. I'm going to look. Tiffany says, no, I'm going to Chicago end of August. I can't help you, girl. I got to figure out remember, mother has to work. And in between all the things that I have going on is where I'm trying to figure out where to take you all away for a retreat for a couple of days. I'm also going to invite Nakia Murray to come and the lady with the sound bowls. And you're going to do some yoga. Like I've got it all in my head, but there's just so much going on. So much going on. Oh my God. Winnie says we have a timeshare in Western Virginia in Massanutten. Oh, I'm sorry, Ruby. Here's the mug, honey. A Lawful Truth Enterprise. And then I have a mug that says Mornings with Mother. Sorry, Ruby. And then I have the t-shirts, Ruby. And so we're working it out, okay? Oh, I love you all. I do love you all. Thank you so much. Monica says, Andrea, you will never know how you helped me pull through this time last year. My mommy was dying, and watching you helped me in ways I can't explain. You will never really know your impact. Thank you, my sister. Thank you. My mother transitioning, I remember getting a call saying, every time you go to visit your mother, you're not on the air. I said, and I do not apologize for not being on the air when I go to visit my mother, my parents, actually. I said, because my mother would tell everybody, all right, I'm going to go visit my mother. I may be live on the air while I'm there, but this is my mommy. And I would go and I would, cut her toenails and rub her feet and rub her down with lotion. And she would slap me and pinch me. And she would make my fish and she would talk to me and fuss at me. You're too damn loud. Who raised you? And I would get all of that. And so when she got sick, David says, and this time it will not be sexist and I will attend. Okay, so the next event, David, yes, we'll have men and women. Yes, because a bunch of men come like, what the hell? What is happening here? We want to come too. You're welcome, CJ. And so I was in Chicago at the end of February and for a baby shower. And I ran into Kia Carr Harris and she said, do you know what I do for a living? And I was like, no. And she began telling me, I was like, oh my God, she's an advocate through doctors' offices for patients, da 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 da. And, she works within hospital systems. And I said, okay, thank you. The next morning, I got a call from our sister. We got a message from our youngest sister who was visiting our parents that mommy had to be taken to the hospital. So that was March 3rd. And she said, I think we need to all come together as a family and figure this out because this is not good. I left Chicago, got on a flight to Chicago, came back to Philadelphia, packed and moved and got another flight and went to go see about my mother. And there began a 6-week journey that was so incredible that it was hard to navigate through. I'm happy that I can talk about it without crying now because you all were just so there. I didn't tell you my mother was dying, but I think some of you could figure it out. But I kept saying, we were at the hospital. She was never alone. Not one time. There was always somebody there. And we were taking 14 and 15 and 16-hour shifts. I didn't sleep, I swear, for a good 4 or 5 weeks. I came home briefly to see about my husband and to get my hair done because my hair was a hot mess at that point because I was looking like Sasquatch. I get to Wafe and I'm sitting outside and my sister called and she FaceTimed me and I see my father bawling. I am almost 60 years old. I had never seen my father cry like this. He is crying. Mommy is writhing in pain. It was so much. And right then in that moment, I knew my mother was dying. I was sitting out there trying to console my father, listening to my mother. The tears just started bubbling up inside of me. Sarita knocked on my window because she saw me. She didn't know I was talking to who I was talking to at the time. She knocked on my window and I just burst into tears. She opened my car door and I fell out the car and I screamed. Because you ever the person that gave you life, You just knew their time was coming. And she took me into the hair salon, and I'm crying and I'm crying, and all the stylists, everybody just stopped doing what they were doing. They were wiping my face. They were bringing tea. Somebody called my husband. Next thing I know, my husband popped up. It was a crazy as hell time. That was 2023. And when my mother passed away, and I posted that my mother passed away, not only did you all, those of you who knew where I lived, showed up at my house and made sure my husband had food, and you came and you tilled my garden because I couldn't come to get the garden ready. My friends came and got the garden ready. Julie Nahill and another friend came and got the garden ready. People were making plaques. People were doing all sorts of things. A good amount of my friends, a contingency of them, got on planes and came to my mother's funeral. And the ones who didn't come to my mother's funeral were saying that there were things showing up at the house every single day from so many of you. I'm still looking at all the things around that so many of you had sent. Tiffany, I believe you're the one that sent the book that says Their Eyes Are Watching God, by Zora Neale Hurston, and my mother's name was engraved in the pages of the child. And then I got a call from Carolyn Sawyer when I came back home. Some of my doctors sent people here to clean my house. Some of my friends, Sarita Scott, sent a chef here to make sure that I had meals to eat for weeks. Marguerite, so many of you. And so for months, even today, you all still check in. Are you okay? Can we do anything to help you? So my father and mother were absolutely right. It's not the degrees. It's not how important you think you are. It's how you treat people. Because the way I treated people, all of those people turned around and came right back. I come back home, I am crying every day. My garden is being watered with my tears. Carolyn Sawyer, who was an anchor in South Carolina, reached out to me and says, I have a cottage in Martha's Vineyard. I'm offering it up to you for a few days. Get in your car and drive. All you have to do is drive and be there. It will not cost you a dime. And I grabbed Denise and we went off to Martha's Vineyard, and I had a little bit of a respite. And so it goes. Every time I'm doing something people have paid for. I still have gift certificates to massages. I still have gift certificates to go get body scrubs. You all just showed up. So when I tell you, in the mornings when I don't feel like getting up, on the days when I feel like I have had enough and this is too much, you all just buoy me and lift me up so that I can continue to do this work. It is not easy. I love you all. I love you all. So for everybody, so Monica, I am grateful that my sharing my story was helpful to you. You were not the only one. I went to the Dell and ran into Sharon Carter, who was like, my mama had just died, and you were on here just telling the things that we all felt, but we could not express. We could not express. And it's very rare now that I can have a conversation about my mother and not cry, because she was every stinking thing to me. You want to hear the best part about all of this? As my mother was dying, she said to me, copy and paste, my son and daughter-in-law were pregnant again. And my mother said, it's a girl. It's a girl. And she said, it's a girl. And when I talked to my daughter-in-law, she was supposed to be born on my mother's birthday, October 9th. She came early. Go look at repeat. She looks just like my mother. She acts just like my mother, looks just like my mother. Every time, my father can't even speak about her, because every time he sees her, he sees his wife, our mother. When she gives the side eye, we're just like, oh my God, that our mother came back reincarnated in this little baby girl. So repeat behaves like my mother, acts like my mother. And so we just have such a good time laughing and talking and playing with her. So, when people die, when your loved ones die, it's really for you to just carry on and do what you're supposed to do. When my father's mother died when he was 11, I was born. I am the reincarnation of her. I hear her act like her, look just like her, all the things, all the things, right? So just while folks are here, love on them and do what needs to be done to make sure that they're okay. With all the stuff that's happening in the government, like everybody else, my father's Social Security was cut 4 daughters, we all jumped in. All right, what do we need to do? So he's okay. So as our parents age, don't leave them. East Coast said, Ruby says she's buying all the things. You can't buy them all, Ruby. You can't buy all the merchandise. The people here will get you. But I'll let you know. And so, as your parents age, as your family members age, as those things are going on, as you have friends that are going through, I think of Margaret and so many others, just love on people. Love them while they're here. Make sure that they're going to be okay no matter what is going on. Viola, before I get off the air, is it my imagination or is there a Mineral Springs somewhere in Virginia? Because I remember you telling me about it, and I was telling Margaret she wants to go to one. So let me know if there is. Laura says, I guess David can be an honorary brown crayon. However, us women need a space as girls. Men can have their own event, and maybe we can do a unisex event. You see what? But you put more work on me, Laura. You put more work on me. The men called and they wanted their own event. And then it was supposed to be in August, but I ended up doing the Democratic National Convention and driving 7,000 miles across the country. And in the middle of driving across the country, my team was calling me going, okay, we got to do this, so that we were ready for the podcast. We had begun recording for the podcast right away, even though it debuted on October 15th, the podcast episodes were already being aired. We're already being recorded. So it's just that you guys didn't know. There's so much work behind the scenes. We make it look easy. Yeah, we make it look easy. Marguerite says, I've been there. Seeing the transition come in can be harder than the actual loss. Yes. Tiffany says that, Marguerite, it's hard knowing when your loved one is at the end of life. My heart breaks every single time. Who's calling? We love you. Good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Marva. How may I help you?
Good morning.
Viola. Hi, sweetie.
I had to call because it's more than me just putting Hot Springs, Virginia, but it's near Covington, Virginia, and it is gorgeous.
So there is a Hot Springs there.
Oh, my gosh. It is gorgeous. Yes.
Who wants to go with Marva for a weekend to go visit the Hot Springs? You got to pay.
Number one.
Send me the address, Viola. Send me the address.
I'll look it up and send it to you.
You have to pay for your own lodging and everything. But Margaret wants to do the Hot Springs, and I think we all should. It's very relaxing, and Hot Springs are healing. Okay. All right.
Oh, the pools are. It's just fantastic. I can't even explain it. Because I started to go up there and get a job and work.
Really?
It's 20 miles down. When I say down, 20 miles down to Covington where the Walmart is.
Oh,
and they needed people to take them there.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's gorgeous. It's really white, but it's gorgeous.
Oh,
but
wow.
Listen,
okay, send me the address. All right, y'all know Mother does these impromptu things.
Okay.
If you are interested, you're welcome, Viola. Thank you. I appreciate you, darling. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. We're not going to put this all out on social media, so we will not be telling people exactly how we're going, where we're going, but let's figure this out, right? Oh, you would go, Tiffany? Yes. All right, let's figure this out, right? Oh, Jasenia, I love you guys too. Missy G says, me. The problem is when I do these things, I remember taking 50 women up to the mountain. The white lady she said, come here. You brought all these people up here? And some of the women I had never met before in my life. They just came and it was so much fun. Oh, child, there was going down the mountain. They came from New York, Virginia. They came from Florida. They came from North Carolina to drive 6 more hours to go up into the mountains because I didn't want to do where everybody goes. I took them to Seven Springs, a place that most people didn't even know existed. So I'm excited about that. All right. I love you all too. It is 7:29. I got to get off of this thing right here. Let me do, because Instagram also only allows me 1 hour or my stuff disappears. I tell you, I'm going through some stuff with IG. Come on, y'all. Share. I don't know why it won't let me share. There we go. All right. So thank you all. Let's figure this out. You're gonna try and do a Hot Springs. I gotta get Margaret here so we can do this. And Go listen to season 3, episode 5, which is a story about Margaret and her journey with recurrence with cancer. She wants to go to a hot springs. Margaret is going to be the impetus for this. So whenever we go, Margaret will be with us. Okay. I love you all. I love you all. You all so. Monica said me. Laura says I'm down for whatever. Shaquilla says, all right, now listen. Here's what I'm going to do. Somebody start a messenger page about the hot springs. I'm going to go look this morning to see exactly how close it is to those cabins up in the mountains. So it will be like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, come back Sunday evening. All right. David said, if you all want to know what men are thinking, invite us. We didn't ask what we were thinking, though. We just wanted to come in and take a deep breath. You know, I love you too, Beatrice. I love you too, my darling. I got to go to the gym because that's what keeps my mind, steadfast and figuring out what I got to do, how I got to do. Love you all dearly. But somebody create a thing that says Marvel's Hot Spring and start to add the people that you know are in here that wants to do this thing. And we'll go from there. I don't, when I say somebody, when I tell you this, it's because I don't have time. I make it look easy, but there's a lot going on right now that I have to deal and work with, right? And so we'll figure it out. This episode, I tell you, it was Listener Wednesday, we did it. This episode of Mornings with Marva is officially over. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye, my darlings. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.